Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Conflict Podcast. I am your host, Mordecai. And for the ones that know me by my French name, Ladouceur, I'm very, very excited to be back. And today is going to be a special episode because I am here with my brother that we'll be introducing. But I just want to introduce again the podcast, what it's about. The podcast is about the conflict that there is between the will of God and the will of men, and what does it look like, in my life, your life, my I guess is lives. So it's just going to be a conversation that's going to be authentic, that's going to be raw, and I'm excited to talk about that. Again, this is all an idea that came from a project that I'm working on, which is my movie, and it's the same idea, the same theme, but in a conversation, right? So it's going to be a good time, and I'm excited. So I am here with my brother. His name is Jonathan Ladouceur. I don't know if it's Ladouceur. How do you say it? I don't know if it's...
The same way that you got like Mordecai
Yeah.
and Ladouceur, I had to find a way to say my last name, but Jonathan Ladouceur or Jonathan Ladouceur.
Yeah, that's fine. They both sound good, but so that's my brother. Like we've been friends, brothers since 2009, 8.
Yeah, I would say
Almost
9
20 years.
Yeah, almost.
Almost.
Dang.
Ew.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
that
crazy.
hurts. Yeah, that hurts. That hurts.
Wow.
So almost 20 years, and he's my first guest. So that's really funny because he's the type of person. Well, he's the guy in my life where, if I have an idea, if I have a project, if I have a baby that I want to do something new. He's probably the first, the second person that I'm gonna have conversation with about the project, and we're gonna bounce ideas and. You just talk, and he gives me space to dream. And so it is fitting that you are the first guest.
Absolutely.
Here,
well, I will say it is an honor because, like you said, you in my life have been an outlet that I was always free to go wild in my dreams and my projects. Anything that sounded crazy, I'm like, I don't know, this is the one guy that I can just imagine and just go wild and that will support. So I'm very, very honored that I'm here with you on this, journey. And I'm really excited about this episode, and it's a beautiful subject, so can't wait to go deep into it.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. So, and that's funny because what we're about to do now is something that we do all the time. Like in your car, in my car, in my house, your house. Like
this is a car conversation, y'all.
Guys are just now you get to see what it is, what we talk about, and it can go for hours. I mean, like 4, 5, 6 hours, literally.
Yeah,
but we have 1 hour, so
let's keep it short today.
Keep it short. And so so let's talk about it. Let's talk about what does it look like? I want to have a picture of what does it look like in your life to live as a Christian man that is trying to, that has a will, right? And then you also have your God that is your Savior and your Lord, right? So now you're trying to figure out, like, okay, I have to let go of my will. What is the thing that it's what in my life is I have a struggle to let go of.
Yeah.
And if there's plenty, let's talk about it and where you at in it. But just to start, what does it look like? What does it look like in your life?
Well, there's something that you just said, I think, about making, of course, like you said, I'm a Christian, fully love the Lord. There's no denying that anybody that knows me knows I go crazy for the Lord. But you did say something just now that's really interesting, which is Jesus is my Lord and Savior. And I think that's, just any Christian, I think that's something that you ultimately have to confess. And I think, a lot of Christians, and this probably talking to more Christians specifically, is a confession that we always make or we hear other people make. But now the question is, how do you live it out? Because, I think that everyone agrees with the fact that Jesus saves. He still saves. He breaks chains, changes lives. That's all Jesus. And if you haven't got that experience, just get connected with someone who will, because he's the real deal. So I think the saving part is really what draws everyone to Jesus. But then talking about the Lord part, the lordship of Jesus, when he reigns over you and you submit under his will, I think this is what doesn't get enough conversation. And so I think that's what we're talking about.
Yep.
And so your question is really how it looked like in my life,
Yeah.
right?
In this season or whenever.
In this season, all right.
Yeah.
So let's go in. So me, I will say that definitely, like I said, I made definitely Jesus my savior. I understood that I grew up in a Christian family, so I was always exposed to the fact that there is a higher power, but that higher power has a name, and it's God, Jesus, and it's to have that connection with God, you need Jesus. It's through the Son, and so I understood all that being, in a very religious background. But, that experience, that personal experience, that personal relationship, you have to encounter this thing, which is your will and his will. And this is where every single matter of your life, now you end up at that crossroad where you have to acknowledge your desires, acknowledge what you want, and then pause, and then go to prayer and develop this thing. Yeah, it through prayer to know what God's will is. And so in my life, I could just obviously an hour won't be enough to talk about my whole life, but I'll just single out some events. I will say that where I really saw God's will for the first time was in my circle. So the people I was hanging out with, and you just hang out with certain people because sometimes you want to feel accepted. I'm talking about like middle school, high school days, So you want to feel accepted or whatever. And so you just start hanging out with people. But the more that you spend time with God and you understand your purpose, you understand that you need to surround yourself with people who will push you towards that purpose. And I realized that, friends that I had didn't necessarily contribute to that. And so therefore, it's like, are you just going to keep hanging out with them out of familiarity? Or you're actually going to be okay to be alone for a while because I will give you the right people, And I could say that, like, again, just being in high school and all of that, I haven't met you yet, So, like, I had a whole, different circle. But, when I really submitted, and again, I was in Ottawa, so I really thought, everyone is like applying to schools in Ottawa. So it's either University of Ottawa, Carleton University, and that's just kind of like when you live there, you're like you're gonna end up in one of those, or college, Algonquin and La Cité Collégiale, and so it's kind of like the same schools, like the same 4 schools. But it's like, okay, I applied, didn't get accepted for some reason. So then I get anxious because my plan is not happening.
Oh, there you go.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, but then this thing happens where other situations were happening, like family and at the church. And I'm like, I really need like a break from just
all of this,
Ottawa and just everything.
Yeah.
And I think I started visiting Montreal again. I was born and raised in Montreal. So I think that I wanted to reconnect with like my hometown. And so that idea became like a thing, but it wasn't my original plan. And so to make a long story short, after prayer and everything, the only school that accepted me was Université de Montréal. And so I was like, oh, dang, like, this is crazy. Like, while I wanted something in Ottawa, like, this is what's going
Yeah.
on. And God had something bigger and greater. And I will say that even in the tiny details, the church I was going to and the people, the networking and the connections that I made, like, we're having this conversation now
Yeah.
because of
Yeah,
that.
that's
You know what I
crazy.
mean? And it's like God already knew that, like, I need you to be connected with this person, this person, this person, because almost 10 years down the line, we're gonna be here having this
Yeah.
conversation, you know? And so that's just one example of just recognizing God's lordship in our plans, in even in the smallest thing. And I've had like another occasion with that was, although I was in Montreal, and my goal when I did go there was to be a dentist, right?
True. Hey, I remember that.
So my goal was to be a dentist.
Yeah.
And then I'll be honest, you know, first year, like out of high school, you know, it was kind of crazy. You're exploring, you're curious,
Yeah. Oh,
you're just,
yeah.
I wasn't really too focused. But on top of like not being as focused, I will say just the education like difference between Ontario and Quebec
Yeah.
and the courses they had me take which had nothing to do with the program I applied for. That's just how it was, or this is, I don't know if it's still like that, but that's just how it was at the time. And so I guess doing classes that were so disconnected from what I wanted to do, and then all the distractions, like it was just a bad year for me academically, right? And I ended up back in Ottawa. But now, going back to Ottawa, I applied again. And this is the funny thing. The first time I applied, none of them accepted me.
Okay.
I apply again, and I get accepted.
All of them, or just like maybe one?
Like two of them.
Okay.
Right? And now, this time I was applying to be a dental hygienist, and I did get accepted. And I was like, this is... I found a passion for it as I went to the dentist, you know, being in that chair. And I'm a people's person. So like just dealing with people, and I just see the career as something that is just, I love science, like biology and all that stuff. And it's like, I'm like, I can see myself doing this. And so it was already a year and a half in, you know, I'm passing all my classes, everything's going well. But then there's like this tug in my heart about my career path, like, and I'm just like, what is this?
Yeah,
I
don't
hate
like
it. And it's like, and of course, this is like, again, in my first few years of being a young adult, and so everybody knows at that stage in life, like, you're really trying to find yourself,
Yeah.
and that's where I was. So again, that crossroad was there, where it's like, do I keep going? Let me see what God has to say about it. And what, to my surprise, I thought God was going to be like,
Stay.
I bless you.
Oh, okay.
Keep going.
Yeah.
I am with
Yeah.
you, or something.
Yeah.
But it was like, I realized that I always had a desire to go to Bible school. But it was always something that I wanted to do afterwards, because, you know, if we're being honest,
Let's go.
church kids,
Get honest. Yeah.
you know, we have it's like, we love church. So we especially, well, if some people like to bash church, I am not one of the few that had a bad experience by God's grace. I love my community. I love my church. I have so many good memories. Like traveling, missions, all of that. So I really had a great experience. And so we love our community, but what we were exposed to, we never saw an example of, you know, well, here anyways, Montreal, we didn't see an example of really people going full time.
True. Yeah.
Like,
doesn't
as
happen.
much as you love church, you got to find a job to put bread on the table, right? And or maybe there's not the resources for even, you know, to see people have those opportunities or job to be doing this full time. And so you have to find a career
Yeah.
as you're serving
Yeah.
at church and everything, right? And so to me, I never saw it as going full time a thing because I'm like, that's impossible.
Yeah, that's not possible. It's not an option. We don't have that.
No,
we
we
don't
don't.
have that. So yeah.
It's impossible. And so therefore, that's why I always had Bible school as like something I just wanted to do for me.
Yeah, later.
Like later, just so I can get to know the word more, and because I was already like, you know, teaching and leading youth at that time. So that's what I wanted to do, just for myself, my personal knowledge, not as a career or like just a path that I wanted to do for my life. But that desire just became strong.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where is this coming from? And I'm like, I know where this is coming from, but why is it happening now?
I don't want to do it now. It's not the plan.
Why is it happening now?
My plan first, and then let's do whatever you want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Man, let me tell you something. And there's truly power in prayer and fasting. That discipline will bring you to a level of spiritual awareness where now you're able to hear God more because you're so you pray, you fast, you know, you have your Bible. So that's basically like, it's like having a phone, opening the messaging app or the text app, and you have a whole bunch of unread messages. That's how I look at the Bible. Now you just gotta go in there and get, you know, read and see what's for you. And so for me, during that time of praying and fasting, I was like, okay, God, I'm at this crossroad. I don't really understand what's going on, and I said, I need you to like really make it clear to me like what I need to do. And that's when something really, really particular happened. And it was basically my grandpa giving me a call and saying, so I heard that, because at this point I was already voicing out my desire to go to Bible school, although I was still in school for a dental hygienist. And I think I was voicing it to my parents or whatever. I don't know how my grandpa heard, but he called me about that situation. And he was like, I heard you want to go to Bible school. I said, yeah, I want to, but I kind of maybe want to do it after or whatever. He's like, well, if you truly feel like God is calling you to do that, then that's what you should do. And I said, okay. I was like, all right.
Thank you.
But like, thank you. But he's like, okay, well, here's why. And then he tells me about how he was at a crossroad when he was in Haiti, and that he had to make a decision between finishing, he was in a seminary to be an evangelist, and he had to pick between that or leaving the country for family, to give a better chance at life for his family. And he prayed, and God clearly told him to stay, but he chose family over whatever. And I won't get into it like too personal stuff, still my thing, but like what he was telling me at that time was that he did all those sacrifices for family, but the family dynamic that he has now is nothing that he would have hoped for. And so he realizes that picking God's way is always the best way. And so when he told me that, that just shattered my things, because I was like, so he had that. I was like, dang, okay. And then I kind of share that with my dad, and I kind of see like his face kind of like change. And I'm like, what's going on here?
About to cry? What's going on
I'm
here?
like, and he just stayed quiet as I'm saying all this. And then, so I kind of, now I tell my mom, you know, that conversation I had with my dad and with my grandpa, or what I shared to my dad
about
my conversation with grandpa. And then he says, she says, she says, well, that's funny because your dad had the same type of crossroad and dilemma. I said, there's no way.
It's a test.
She's like, I was a witness. And she says basically when they were in school, because at that point I left Montreal, we went to Sudbury because they were going to school
Yeah.
full time, and which is a big feat to any parents that's like doing
Yeah,
full
shout
time
out.
school. Hey,
Shout out.
with kids, underage kids, shout out to
Yeah.
you, because that was crazy. But yeah, like she says to me basically that it was their last semester, and just it's like all hell broke loose. Nothing was working. Homework's like just issues not passing, and it's the last semester, you know. And my dad was really like freaking out because like he's so close to the goal, but now he's having all these issues. And so I think there was that one night where he really broke down and he cried, and he made a vow to God, and he said, "If you get me through this, I will accept the call and be a pastor. Like, be a pastor full time. I'll go to Bible school and stuff." And so he made that vow. My mom was there as a witness, you know, because it was in the middle of the night, and you know she's kind of like, "It's okay,"
Yeah.
you know, and so he made that vow, and years later, and he ended up, you know, being able to graduate. He got his bachelor's degree. They both did. And in the years later, though, he never actually went to Bible school. And so there was a job that he had. Like, he was working for them for 7 years. And then out of nowhere, they told him, like, that he's about to get laid off. And that literally, you know, and it happened, like, I'm assuming, like, midlife, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like you've worked so hard at school, and you know, if you finally got the career and you're going up, you're getting promoted, and then all of a sudden you're getting like laid off. So I think it was really a difficult time for him. But then all of this is being revealed, and as my mom is saying this, and I'm realizing, I'm like, wow, but he never actually did that step yet to go to Bible school. And I'm just like, and I never had this conversation about Bible school really before with them until I felt it strongly. But it wasn't, my desire to go to Bible school didn't come out of a conversation where they told me, or he told me that he wanted to go to Bible school.
That was you.
It was just me.
Yeah.
So when I felt like I had that desire, I'm like, wait, this is a generational thing.
I was about to say, like, so this is like your grandpa that didn't do, or like, okay, so he didn't do it. Then it's like, okay, let's transfer that to the second one, the other one, and then your dad, that happens, and now it's like, okay, let's transfer that one to the son, and now you are aware of that. I have a question. Do you know if your dad was aware that your grandpa wanted to do that as well, or?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. And I think that's what's crazy. And that's why I'm saying I really love this topic, because we can really, what I started realizing is that all their reasons were valid. My grandpa's reason to leave Haiti was valid.
Yeah. You want a better life for your family. You want them to be safe.
Exactly.
To be,
Like,
all that stuff.
Let's not lie. Like, Haiti wasn't the best developed country, you know, and so therefore if you have the opportunity to offer something, a better life for your kids, why wouldn't you do it, right? So it was a valid reason. His plan was valid, but you had God's plan too, you know? And same thing with my dad, like his thing was valid too. But I can't really explain it. I mean, they're both still alive, you know what I mean? It's like anything can happen, you know? But I think there's a window and there's a crucial time of your life where you really have to pick, is it going to be my way or is it going to be his way, you know? And I want to share a verse.
Yeah, go ahead. Should have brought the Bible here. I forgot about that.
I wasn't too sure in which language we were going to talk today, but I have it here in English.
We'll do another episode in French.
Okay.
At some point if we want to.
So Isaiah 55 verse 8 says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor are your ways my ways, says the Lord." And that verse stuck out to me because that is a verse that, like, we hear all the time at church. And just to be like, God's plan is greater and who trusts God? Yeah. But when it plays out in real life, it's not that easy.
No.
It's not that easy.
It's not fun. It's not easy. It's ghetto.
Yeah. So I realized that I was at the same crossroad, and everyone else before me picked their plan before really going God's plan. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna break the cycle and flip.
Yeah.
Ooh, I did not know what I signed up for.
Let's talk about it.
Breaking a cycle is not easy. And so I've had the most weird up and downs and in my life, just because I completely stopped what it was with dental hygienist, and I pursued Bible school, and I met financial issues, administrative issues, so many things that discouraged me to keep going, And again, to fast forward in my life, let's say 2018. So at this point, there's so many things I could talk about. That's so crazy.
Hey, listen, we can do a part 2. We can do a part 2.
No, that's what I'm saying. Sure. It's a really good subject.
Yeah.
So many things I could talk about. So,
yeah, you're coming back.
Yeah.
You're coming back.
So, okay, I'll say this one, since I think this is a connecting with you as well. So, I had the vision to bring people together, young people together that I was seeing at church and different ministries that had strong potential, especially musically speaking. And I said, you know what? We need to bring all of them together. And I had a name for it, a vision for it. It's called New ID
there
Ministries.
Hey, New ID, let's go.
Yes, sir.
OG.
Mic check 1 2 1 2.
Yeah.
New ID's in the house. What you gonna do?
Yep.
But yeah, so yeah, and you were actually one of the founding ones, founding members.
I'm an OG.
OG right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2014 was when I had the vision. I talked to a few young women about that I saw potential in them, that were like in the community, Christian community I was at, and then musicians, young men as well. I'm just like, yo, let's come together. There was this Christian event that the city was doing in Ottawa, and that was happening in the city, and so we. In 2015, that's when we went.
Wait, is that the one at the? I don't remember the church, but I was there.
Yep.
Right? And okay, yeah, I remember that
Yeah.
one. So that was the first one.
That was 2015. That was the first one. That's when we really came out as New ID Ministry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy. That's almost 10 years ago.
That's almost 10 years ago. And I got something planned coming for the 10 years.
Tuned.
Stay tuned for that.
I'm down.
But yeah, so yeah, that was happening, and we came out as a group, and just getting musically involved, traveling, again, all of that was cool. And then there was multiple seasons up and down where we were like really active, and then nothing was going on, and then super active again. And there was a season where it's like it just felt like we were all over, like Montreal and stuff. We were just everywhere. I think that was like 2017, 18. Like, as soon as that first song we did dropped, like on my faveur, and then it was a wrap.
Yeah.
Like, by the grace of God, it helped out so many people.
Yeah.
Gave hope to a lot of people in certain situations. And again, even in that, when I started the group, I wanted to push people.
Yeah. That was the
If
heartbeat.
you remember, I was on keys.
Yeah.
I was not holding the mic.
Yeah.
I was not singing. That was you.
Yeah.
That was you and the girls.
Yeah.
I was not.
Crazy. I have a picture of it. I remember
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
So my plan was to stay behind the keys. But someone came up to me and said, what you're doing behind the keys is okay, but you need to be holding the lead mic.
Okay, so who said that? Because we need to shout that person out.
So, yeah, special shout out to Peter Mizidor.
Yeah, shout out Peter.
He was like one of the first to really tell me this. And there was also actually no, maybe Peter was the second person.
Still shout out Peter.
Still, yes,
Yeah.
yes. The first person actually came from within the group. It was Jordi.
Okay, yeah.
It was
Shout out Jordi.
he was a
Shout
drummer.
out.
So shout out. He actually was the first one to tell me that. And it came more as a suggestion, so I guess I didn't really take it like I said, yeah, I see what you mean, but nah. That's what I'm trying to do. Like, who's gonna be playing keys?
Yeah.
But then Peter was really like, no, like he gave me like
Confidence?
not just that, but he gave me like context to what he was saying.
Okay.
He said what you want them to do or what you see in them is already in you, and you need to lead so that they're able to. So I was like,
That makes sense.
And I didn't care. I don't care for the spotlight, quote unquote. And I just I'm fine just being in the back. Again, my plan versus his.
Yeah.
And clearly it was a nudge from God to be like, hey, you need to get out of this comfort zone. And so when I started actually leading the group, that's when another...
Yeah, it shifted.
It shifted.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, I'm like having these melodies coming and words, and I'm putting them together, and it's like, wow, okay, this could be a song or whatever. And then later on that year, when all of this is happening, that was 2017, when all of this is happening, like throughout the end of the year, we went to that small church in
Toronto?
Ottawa. Ottawa, yeah. Small church. And that's when...
Was I playing?
I don't know. I don't know if you were there.
Because, I left the group.
Yeah.
And then I came back.
Yeah,
But,
he left for a
wasn't there.
season.
Yeah.
You know how you watch a show and you love a
Yeah.
character and then they
He's
just have
out.
to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was him.
'Cause I was starting to get my own stuff together.
Yeah,
you know?
which I'll bet he'll get into in another episode.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so at that point, I think he left. And that's when we went to a small church in Ottawa, and
I remember this.
Joel Lopez was preaching.
I wasn't there, but I know the story. Okay.
So yeah, he was preaching, and at the end, the verse that he used for his sermon was "L'Éternel agira en ma faveur," and that's when it stayed up on that screen. I was like, I was in this moment. I don't know what happened. The melody just dropped, and usually after the sermon, the host pastor just takes back the mic, says, thank you, everyone, gives the blessing, and everyone goes home. For some reason, he gave me the mic again. He's like, I just feel like you need to sing a last song. And I'm just like, do I go ahead and just
Try this
thing that I'm feeling right now? And again, conflicted between my comfort and just God. And I just trusted God in that moment, and the sound was released, and something shifted in the room, and then we knew that that song was special. And so we sang that. I think this time were you there?
Right.
24 Heures, the first one?
No.
Okay.
No, I wasn't there.
So, but I believe you came, because you did come, like,
back.
I hit you up for the studio, I remember that.
Yeah.
But you came back like right after. But so there was an event we did, we participated in, and we sang that for the first time. And then when we saw the impact in the room, now this is happening in a totally different city. The first one was Ottawa, and then this is happening in Montreal. And now it's like, okay, yeah, this song needs to touch the world. And so when the studio and just everything else, like, so many people to shout out just in that journey, because God sent people.
Yeah.
Like, he sent people to do the video recording for us. They were so blessed by the song, because in their home church, like, it was bringing people back home. And they were telling us that testimony, and they're like, so therefore we want to pay it forward and just kind of like, we want to film this video for the song for you. And so that was really amazing. And all of that stemmed from trusting God, And then fast forward to 2019, where now it's like we're still on a high momentum and stuff. but I'm feeling, I'm pouring out to people, but I just needed something for me. And so that's when I decided to go with some friends. We went to Ohio, World Harvest Church for Dominion Camp meeting. And
Was I there? Was it like with Mike and everybody, or is it another one? Okay, so that was with the group. You went with the group. Okay,
yeah. But it's because you guys told me
about it.
DCM that I was like, you know what? Let me go as well, because like the way you guys came back so rejuvenated and good, I said that's what I need. So I went with the group, some of the group, some people of the group, essentially just friends. We went to Ohio, and that was, life changing. And that's when, I got a scholarship, and I was like, okay, because at that point, again, there were so many situations that held me back from finishing school, like Bible school, that I gave up. And I felt in that moment, in that season, that I was forced to give up, because it was just the financial part was just so difficult. I'm like, I need to work so I could hopefully one day go back to school. So I was just working and, doing ministry, doing music and everything. And after that, I really felt strongly like it's time to go back. But I'm like, oh, here we go again. Am I going to do this? Is it going to work? And I said, all right, I'll apply to schools. And I applied everywhere in Ottawa. I applied everywhere. And the only place that, again, the same way that I was able to get accepted like all the time, right, to several of these schools. The same school that I said yes once, but I just chose another school. Now they're saying no. They're like, did I just I didn't get an acceptance letter, and so the only one I got was Ohio. And I was like, God, oh my God. And that was, again, I could have forced my way somewhere else. But at this point, I already knew, like everything I just told you, I shared with you. I already know I'm like, I have to be consistent into picking God's first and acting out on faith and trusting Him.
So let me just interject here. So you're telling me like you kind of gave up on that, what God told you, like, hey, that's something that you have to do, because obviously, like, it's not happening.
Yeah.
You don't have the money. You don't have all the things are not just happening. So you're forced to kind of give up. But it's like God came back and like reignited hey, it's still happening.
Because you know what, as I stopped pursuing God fully, or just those steps with school and everything, I didn't turn on my decision. That's the difference. I just stopped.
Got you.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that it's a real thing. I think that in the pursuit of doing what like God's will or His purpose, it's not always easy. You won't always have the drive to go. Like if we're being real honest, like it's hard.
Yeah.
And sometimes you stop.
Yeah.
You need to catch your breath. You break. It's too emotionally draining, mentally, spiritually, even sometimes. And I think that I was at that point, and and God knew too. And so, and that's where I really seen God's love in another way. Like,
let me give you a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I know you love serving me and serving my people, but I don't want to lose you in the process. So let me
bring you
take
back.
care of you.
Yeah.
And so, so therefore in the process, like, He really prepared a place of complete renewal, breaking, transformation. He prepared that season for me in Ohio, and He made it very clear. He made it easy. Got a scholarship. To make a long story short, I went back for a confirmation if I really had to go there, and I ended up winning another scholarship. And they're like, well, you won one in the summer, and you came back during the fall and you still got another scholarship, because it was all like a draw.
Yeah.
And once I got the same thing twice, the pastor's daughter, I think, was like connected with the administration of the school, and she's like, "Well, we're gonna cancel out every excuse possible. We're giving you a full year."
So
how the scholarship was 25%.
So how, because like, okay, so you already have like the summer scholarship, you said.
Yeah.
So now you go back, whatever reason, you go back, you're just having a good time, and then they say, we're gonna give you a full scholarship for the year.
Yeah.
So in that moment, or maybe later on, just thinking of, okay, God, like, this is something that you told me to do that I didn't know how to do it by myself, and now you provided the help from people that I don't even know, not even the same country,
Yeah.
let alone like your friends. No, it's people from, and I remember too, like, now we talk about that, like they provided the stuff for you, but before you left, because you were still going to Outremont, and then people started to pray for you and all that. And I think people started to give you money, just like,
Yeah.
and just like, so, he's providing from everywhere.
Absolutely.
So how does that feel to you?
This is where stepping out on faith and doing what, again, like the verse I just said, his thoughts are not your thoughts. And so therefore, the reason why we plan certain things is because we're thinking about everything that we can think of, like every single factor. And we're like, and once we get to the conclusion, we feel like this is gonna work. But God's way, he has everything. He is God. Like, he has everything at his command.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he says he got you, he got you.
Mm.
And that's what I experienced in that moment. I said, I do not regret.
And I was about to
picking
ask,
you.
so that's because I was about to ask, my next question is, did you regret the decision? Because in the middle, like, in the middle, it's like, man, what am I doing? Like, it's not producing anything. Now you're not at the end of it, but now you're seeing the fruit of your obedience, the steps that you took. So
Because I saw provision that didn't come from me.
yeah,
When I saw supernatural provision to go in the way that I have decided to follow God in, when I saw the supernatural provision, I knew was an indication that I made the right choice.
mm-hmm.
And that is the best feeling, because you know for a fact that if God brings you to it, he'll bring you through it. And it's like very church cliche, but it's real.
It's real.
Like, if he brings you to that point, then he's going to provide for it. And that's what I was able to see. And I just started. Like, I wasn't even starting school, like you said. People were already, they felt the need to, really pitch in and sow into what I was getting ready to do. And that was really beautiful. And by the grace of God right now, I'm only like, just because of like, international visa, all these type of things.
That.
But I'm only a semester away from finishing. And so that's really exciting. And even in all of that, same thing like I was saying, like how I met you.
Yeah.
Like after high school, that's kind of like the same way. I've made godly connections while I was there. I think people who will stay for a lifetime, even, relationships that I made in Ottawa and Montreal, and just in those different seasons of my life, like God provided.
Yeah.
I think that we see sometimes God only as providing stuff. God provides people, y'all.
Yeah.
He provides like in ways that is like more than money. And he provides in the circle. He provides with people to back you up. Like I said, for your dreams, like that's my guy right here. Like, because sometimes you'll have a vision and it's so heavy and it's like, I need someone to share this with, but you know for a fact that you can't. It's too fragile.
Yeah.
Like, if you share with the wrong person,
it can literally kill the whole thing.
It will crush the whole thing, and you won't find the courage or the power to even just go ahead and try, And so that's why I'm really grateful for, people like my brother. Like, it's just because it's like when I was, sharing all those steps, he knew about it. And I said, yo, this is what's getting ready to happen. And it's like, I remember, like, once I was on the plane and I was like, yo, I'm out.
Yeah.
Take care, bro. And it's like, you send me this paragraph and it's like, bro, I believe in you. I got you. And it's like, it's really beautiful. It's like to see that, like, I mean, we were from completely different cities, different churches, different, circles. And it's like God brought you in my life, to really just to be that guy for me, And it's like, I think that this is where, again, God provides, and when you choose God's way, like, he will send people, he will send the resources to make sure that you get there, so you don't have to worry. But it's always the first step that's the hardest. I will say this. The first step, just making that jump, that leap of faith, requires sometimes a price that not everyone is willing to pay, because it's frightening. It's scary to not, when they say, Jesus, take the wheel, and for you to be in the back seat.
Yeah. There's
nothing you can do.
You're just backseat and you're just looking at the scenery and you're like, can you take a left here? No.
There's nothing that you can say. And so therefore, when there's a detour, you're like, but you could have went that way. But you're not driving. So therefore, you just have to accept the detour.
Yeah.
And I think those detours, I realized are necessary sometimes for character development. I mean, along the way, like, I was imperfect. Like, I've made some emotional decisions. I've made, some things, but it was never something that cost the end goal. So therefore, God was able to work with that and work with me, work with my heart, work with my character to lead me to the path that he had set for me.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm so grateful for you, and I know that, like, that's the goal with the conversation that we're having here. It's to kind of shed a light on this reality, because you're a Christian and going through life, and you don't really get to even have the courage to do those type of things, right? And you don't even and it is because it's not talked about. You think you're the only one going through those type of things. So the goal is really to get people to understand that, hey, there's a lot of different peoples that are going through different things that are, close to what I'm going through or close to what my family member is going through. And to kind of shed the light on that and to make them understand, hopefully, and, have their heart open to the fact and the reality that, he is a good God.
Yeah.
And that, yes, you're used to your way.
Yeah.
Right? You're used to it. That's, but, like, there was one before you. Right? And that one is better and it is worth it. So I guess my last question would be, like, do you feel like it was worth it? And it is something that you're going to continue. Can you say it? Because
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Absolutely something that I'm going to pursue.
Yeah.
Like, I don't regret a thing. Ultimately, I don't regret a thing. Like I said, just seeing how things are being played out, I made the decision to choose God, to choose God's plan. But the conflict will always be there.
Always.
That's one thing, and I think even to people listening, like, the conflict is real, y'all. It's real. But, there's another verse in Proverbs that, we hear all the time. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. And you see it, because it's like, although you may have a portion of the answer, but God has the full picture. And so therefore, why would you trust? I know you're very confident in the piece that you have, the piece of the puzzle that you have, but God has the bigger picture. And so therefore, trusting him, you're for sure getting there. And so therefore, I will say that I don't I don't regret it. And, I'm not fully there yet, but I'm pretty close. And what keeps me going is, again, seeing his provision, seeing that he's there, seeing that he affirms and reaffirms that he is with me in the process, in his plan. And that's the beautiful thing. It's like there's an insurance policy with your yes to him. Your yes to you, your yes to your plan, you're your own policy. That means if you succeed, you succeed. But if you fail, you fail.
Yeah.
But if you trust God, if you succeed, he gets the glory. And if he fails, which he doesn't fail, that is the one thing he can't do.
Yeah.
He can do a lot of things, but one thing that God
Not
can't
gonna
do is fail.
Yeah.
And so when he succeeds for you, he gets the glory. And when he fails, well, what seems like a failure is not a failure in the end, And so, for anybody like that's feeling like it's hard, it's like, I hear you, but it's hard. Are you telling me to leave my job? Are you telling me to leave this relationship? Are you telling me to leave my city? I will say this. If it's what you want to do, that's one thing. If it's what God wants you to do, man, do it. Girl, do it. Because he will back you up. He will see you through the end, for sure. And that's really like, if I sum everything up, that's the one consistent thing that I've seen. And that keeps me going for what's ahead as well. Because, there's a bunch of life choices that, are ahead of us when it comes to, picking a house in the future or, choosing a school for your future kids. And it's like, or just choosing the right, partner. The wife and stuff, or just being in a relationship, the job. There's so many things, life decisions that are ahead of us. But when you have a history of trusting God and trusting His plan, then you're for sure seeing it through, and you're gonna see the end of it. And I don't know on top of my head, but that's probably the last verse I'll share for today. But it's a verse we know, Jeremiah 29:11, and it says, "For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, says the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope." And that verse just tells you right there that He knows the plans. So, is it my plan, His plan? Whether it's yours or His, He knows the plans. So therefore, trusting His plan will just be the best case scenario at the end of the day. And, I don't know if you already talked about it in the episode, but if we flip it around, like, I've seen some crazy seasons in your life.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for even being able to be in the front row seat of that season, where it's like everybody's like questioning you and like, what is he doing and stuff. And, being there, and it's like, I don't even have an explanation to what he's going through, but I just know that he needs to go through it. So I'm not going to like shut him out or just cut him out, or because of what he's going through, because I understand that you've chosen the hard path, And that's the beautiful thing. When God connects you with people that choose the hard path, like, we recognize one another.
Yeah.
And then
Instantly.
Instantly you're like, okay, you're one of them. You're one of them.
Yeah.
But the testimony that will come is definitely beautiful. And that's how we get inspiring stories usually. You hear great people that have accomplished so many great things. They had a big decision to make that sometimes cost them the opinions of family and people around them, community. But at the end of the day, when people saw the result, when people saw, the final outcome, they were all, it's like a standing ovation. Wow, yeah, you did your thing.
Yeah.
You know? And so, to anybody listening, don't lose hope, don't lose courage. But, yeah.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. And I'm happy I didn't interfere too much because I wanted to, but it's such a good story. It's your life, so I'll let you do your thing, and I'm pretty sure that people will be happy about that because you don't you hate like when you watch a YouTube video or anything podcast, and the host keeps interrupting, and sometimes you like it, but like you want to hear the guest, right? So I'm glad that I did it. But anyways, thank you for your time. Thank you because you shared your story, and it's a bit vulnerable. It's a bit, you don't feel comfortable with that, but I'm pretty sure it's going to help someone. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. We'll definitely have to do maybe a part 2, part 3.
Yeah, man. Like, there's so much more I could deeper.
I don't know.
But this was great. Once again, brother, thank you so much for having me on the show. And
Yeah, man. Thank you. All right. I'll see you guys in the next episode.
Go subscribe.
Thank you. And also, go listen to the music. New ID, it's on there.
Thank you. Yes. So you want to check out New ID Ministry for En Ma Faveur and True Worshippers.
Yeah.
And then the latest song that I released, latest. There's more coming for sure. Yeah, but you want to go John Ladouceur and New ID for Lead the Way. I'm singing this song with my homegirl, Daphne Richardson. She's an amazing singer, worshiper. So that's Lead the Way, but it's just a different name for the artist, but the songs are there. So check it out. All available on all digital platforms. And
And you have new stuff coming maybe soon.
Yes,
maybe
sir.
Yes, sir. Something from you.
Yes, sir. We can definitely. I won't say the date just yet.
Yeah,
but
don't say the date.
Coming back full force by the end of the year, for sure. And I'm dropping new music for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. By the end of this year. Like I said, the process was a process, but I'm really excited about what's coming, and I'm excited to share with everybody. And I guess that's part of the testimony of just choosing God's way. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, but I think what's coming is beautiful. It's going to be a blessing to a lot of people. So
yeah, and I heard the song and it's pretty good. And we have he has something for everybody. You speak French, you speak English, maybe Creole in the future. I don't know, but
for sure,
whatever you like, you'll be able to listen and worship and all that. So, anyways, I'll see you guys next episode. Thank you for your time, and peace.